Hi, I'm Marty Nemko. The following guidelines, even if you implement them imperfectly, should make you a plenty good enough parent. First, default to freedom. Yeah, some kids will abuse freedom and so they need more rules and limits. But with most kids, the more freedom you afford them within broad limits, the more the self-efficacy you encourage and the easier it is on you. Now, some parents are overprotective. For example, not allowing an active child to climb trees, for example. Sure, there's a tiny chance that your child's going to break a limb falling off a tree, but the probability of that is much lower than the overprotected child ending up lacking sufficient self-efficacy and being denied enough opportunity to realize that failure is almost always survivable. Even broken bones heal. The child experiencing early and often that the child doesn't trust him to negotiate the world is less likely to heal. Next, default to reasoned communication. Because I said so models poor thinking. Even if brief, offer a reason, even with a toddler, for example. You have to come to family dinner because you're part of this family. Of course, as kids get older and the problem's more complex, open, thoughtful communication is key. No corporal punishment. That's one of parenting's few clear no-nos. Hitting your child conveys that problems should be solved with violence. That also doesn't get at the core problem. Rather, it may generate short-term compliance, but it'll also generate the long-term desire to show who's boss, to behave badly and hide it. Give choices. You may gain compliance by giving choices, all of which are acceptable to you. For example, do you want to wear the red snowsuit or the blue? Give modest time extensions. Often it's difficult for kids and adults to stop doing a pleasurable activity on command. A respectful solution is to say something like, okay, 2 minutes till dinner, finish up with the game. Or if dinner is already served, you might say, I see you're not quite done. Do you want 1 minute more? Default to strength building. Weaknesses are hard to remediate, usually not worth the effort. The cost is self-esteem and the opportunity cost, what the child could otherwise be doing. So the brainiac should get lots of mind-expanding opportunities, while the academically slow but artistic, athletic, or a fix-it-build-it kid should, yes, learn basic 3 R's, but rather than pile on lots of tutoring and summer school, have discretionary activities that build on strengths. Don't worry so much about TV or video games. If your child wants to play more video games than you think desirable, except in the extremists, it may not be worth fighting about. Indeed, research now cites video games' significant benefits. And logically, that makes sense. Many games maximize individualized level problem solving in an immersive environment. If you Google 50 good video games for learning, you'll find them. You'll find a bunch. 50, for example, to be exact. Even preschoolers love and benefit from time on the computer. For example, my wife, Dr. Barbara Nemko, has won 4 national awards for demonstrating that 3 to 4-year-olds learn a lot and learn joyously when using iPads in preschool. Even TV is more benign than you may think. Even sitcoms. They tend to portray good values, and the language used may be superior to what your child might otherwise hear. You probably have bigger issues to take a stand on than an extra hour a day of TV or video games. Default to modeling. Few-second lecturettes can help, but modeling good behavior works better. It's hard to expect your kid to be diligent if you're slothful, to be calm if you're a hothead, to be clean and sober if you're not. Default to guilt. Invoke guilt. What, you might cry? I'm still trying to overcome the guilt my parents in church instilled in me. That's good parenting? Yes, if used judiciously. Invoking guilt builds your child's intrinsic motivation, so he or she is likely to behave well when not under your watchful eye. For example, if I taught my teenager smoking, that's pretty funny. If I caught my teenager smoking, I'd say something like, of course I'm disappointed. Your judgment is normally good. Do you want to talk about it? If my child had promised to clean his room but didn't, instead of yelling, which is a form of punishment, I might simply say, I'm disappointed. You know that you usually keep your promises. Or more sophisticated, consider in Thornton Wilder's play Our Town what the father said to his 12-year-old who wasn't doing his chores. When I was in my office today, I heard a funny sound, And what do you think it was? It was your mother chopping wood. There, you see your mother getting up early, cooking meals all day long, washing and ironing, and she still has to go out to the backyard and chop wood. I suppose she just got tired of asking you. She just gave up and decided it was easier to do it herself. And you eat her meals and put on the clothes she keeps nice for you, and you run off and play baseball like she's some hired girl we keep around the house, but that we don't like very much. Well, I knew all I had to do was call your attention to it. Here's a handkerchief, George. I've decided to raise your spending money 25 cents a week. Not, of course, for chopping wood for your mother, because that's a present you give to her, but because you're getting older. If my 3-year-old refused to come to the dinner table, rather than a bribe such as, if you sit down, I'll let you have ice cream for dessert, I would say something like, want to have dinner with us like a big boy or not be part of tonight's family dinner? If she didn't come, I'd say something like, I know you like being part of our family, and I'm surprised you don't want to be part of us tonight. You'll have another chance tomorrow. Then start dinner. If she chooses to join you, I wouldn't recommend the punitive, sorry, no dinner for you. Better to say something like, I'm glad you've decided to join us. Perhaps tomorrow you'll be more grown up, and join the family for the entire dinner. Invoking guilt is both easier and more effective than our rewards and punishments. Those require you to be ever vigilant and consistent, and that's hard. And finally, have a united front. If you're a 2-parent family, it's important that parents agree on general standards of parenting. When one parent tends to be the enforcer, while the other usually lets the child slide, it sets the stage for the kid playing one parent against the other to no one's benefit. I know the 10 principles are a lot to remember, but is there one or two you think you'd like to focus on? I'll just briefly repeat them. Default to freedom. Default to reasoned communication. No corporal punishment. Give choices. Give modest time extensions. Default to strength building. Don't worry so much about TV or video games. Default to modeling. Default to guilt instead of rewards and punishments. And have a united front. Anyway, I thank you for watching. I'm Marty Nemko. I welcome your thumbs up and accept your thumbs down. I always look forward to your comments. Would love it if you'd hit the share button and share on your social media and or subscribe to my channel. And in any event, I do thank you for watching. I am Marty Nemko.